Guys, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. So this video is going to be about when you should normally change your CVT transmission fluid. So if you guys have a non-CVT transmission, normally that fluid doesn't get changed. It stays in the system, and you know, if you have issues with the transmission, you're gonna have issues with the transmission with a non-conventional CVT transmission. However, if you guys have a CVT transmission, it's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different when it comes to conventional thinking as far as changing the CVT fluid. Now, if you guys are hearing noise from your CVT transmission, noise such as a whining noise, every time you guys put your foot on the pedal, you guys have a lot of passengers in your car, and you drive it, it has, you know, it starts making sounds and stuff like that, whining noises and stuff like that. You gotta change the CVT transmission. Now, normally if you look at your manuals, it would say that the CVT transmission fluid should be changed every 60 to 80,000 miles, 60 to 70,000 miles. There are people who are changing their CVT transmission fluid every 30,000 miles. All right. Now, from my personal experience, as far as CVT issues are concerned, you guys are having your car going to limp mode or safe mode. If the weather gets a bit warm out and you're driving around and your CVT transmission starts making a whiny noise, then you should change your CVT transmission fluid. A lot of times, changing that CVT transmission fluid actually helps a lot with any kind of issues that you have with your CVT transmission car, and that is the truth. A lot of people, you know, when they have issues with the CVT transmission, like if it goes into safe mode and all that stuff, if it's making whining noises, a lot of people get really worried about it, thinking that there might be like a larger issue as far as their car is concerned, as far as the transmission is concerned. But that hasn't been the case with me. Now, I've had CVT transmission cars where I've driven the car for 50,000 miles with noises, with the CVT whine. And that whine is a common thing for cars across all different makes and model. If your car is a CVT transmission car, there's a good chance, there's a definitely good chance that at some point you will have issues as far as that whining noise is concerned. It's a matter of fact, it's part of as part of the CVT transmission. When there is excess stress on the transmission, like if your car is overloaded and you're driving it, you know, sometimes that noise will come up. If you're driving in, you know, when the weather is hot, that noise will come up. If you're driving long distances, that noise will come up. If you overfill your transmission fluid, that noise will come up. So what is the answer on when is the best time to change your CVT transmission fluid? My personal thought on this is you should change your transmission fluid, you know, if you start hearing issues with your transmission, if your transmission starts driving, you know, differently, you know, if it goes into safe mode, if it goes into limp mode, if your transmission starts making whining noises, you always get a good time to change that transmission fluid. All right, it's never a negative thing. Like with a non-CVT conventional automatic transmission, normally the conventional thought is not to change the transmission fluid at all. All right, but with the CVT transmissions, it's totally different. It's totally different, and if you have any doubts about changing that transmission fluid, you should definitely change it. If you read the manual in your car, it will come up as you know, it'll give you a specific mileage on when to do it, and normally that mileage is like 60,000 miles, 70,000 miles, or 80,000 miles. And I'm saying this from personal experience. I know it's like an extra upkeep as far as the car is concerned. A lot of people, when they have normal non-CVT transmissions, that's not part of the upkeep on their car. But as far as CVT transmission is concerned, you guys like to keep your car driving good. If you guys like keeping your transmission in a good state, go ahead and do it. Change that CVT transmission fluid. You know, you guys could do it every 30,000 miles. It doesn't hurt the CVT transmission. I know it's kind of expensive. If you guys take it to the garage, it's kind of expensive. That CVT fluid is a lot. It's like twice the amount. Normally, it's twice the amount as normal regular CVT. Well, it's $10 per bottle. As far as CVT transmission fluids, because it's $10 per bottle. If you guys get it at the dealership, you know, it might be a bit more. I know a lot of people are buying it straight from the dealership straight from the dealership or on eBay or Amazon, and it's kind of expensive. It probably costs you around $200 if you guys take it to the shop. But if you guys watch my videos, I've done at least 2 videos where I show you guys how to change the CVT transmission fluid. And it's pretty simple. Anybody can do it. It's pretty simple. All you gotta do is get a pump, a simple water pump, some tubing from the Home Depot, a bucket, empty it out, pour in the CVT transmission fluid. Now, it's recommended that you guys go and get the CVT transmission fluid from the dealership. It's always recommended, but I've always used Castrol CVT. I think it's Castrol, and there's another brand. There's another big brand. I forget what the name of it is at this point, but you could get that as far as CVT transmission fluid is concerned, and it works it works as well as the regular as the dealership brand or the company brand. So as far as CVT transmission is concerned, if you guys have any issue at all, even if it's minor, it's always best, you know, to fix it. It's always best, and it's always probably like the cheapest fix of all to change the CVT transmission fluid. Now, as far as the wine is concerned, that is a huge issue with a lot of people. It's like one of the biggest thing that gets mentioned as far as CVT transmission is concerned. If you guys watch on YouTube, read any articles that are at all, that wine comes up regardless of the car, of the make of the car, It doesn't matter if you have a Honda, a Nissan, a Maxima, whether you're driving a Ford, a Toyota, whatever, that wine exists. All right, that wine will exist. That wine is just part of the CVT transmission fluid when it's telling you that it needs to be changed. Particularly if you guys are driving in warmer weather. If you guys are driving like really long distances, like if you guys are driving like 200 miles from one spot to the next at one time, you guys are going like at high speeds, you know, at that long of a mileage, you know, your CVT transmission will have a couple of, you know, you will probably hear some sounds coming from it. If your CVT transmission fluid needs to be changed, you will probably, you know, have issues with safe mode as far as, and safe mode and limp mode as far as if the weather is concerned. I personally have had issues with my CVT transmission making more noise, and as far as making more noise, and as far as, you know, going to safe mode, I've had a lot more issues over the summer where the temperature is like 90 degrees and above versus when I'm driving in the winter. Now, that's not to say that I haven't had any kind of CVT issues in the over the winter when the weather is cool. I've had issues as far as that's concerned. But like I said, if you guys change the CVT fluid, it should get rid of that issue pretty good. Now, I've done a lot of videos. If you guys go back to my videos, I've done a lot of videos where you know, it's recommended that when you do that fluid change, you don't fill it up all the way up. It's probably best if you guys do it, you know, at the halfway mark where the dipstick, you know, where it shows you where the full mark is and the empty mark is. You do it halfway there. So, you know, it's recommended. It's officially recommended by companies, you know, car companies, that, you know, as far as CVT transmission is concerned, you don't fill it up all the way. It should be at the halfway mark. I've been driving my car right now with my CVT transmission fluid change that I did myself, and it's actually at the low mark, and it's worked out better because I did that about 4 months ago. I'm driving it, no issues whatsoever. Haven't had that CVT whine come up at all. So I'm a proponent for changing the CVT transmission fluid anytime you start, you know, noticing issues with your car, whether it's the whine or whether you know, your car is constantly going to limp mode and safe mode and all that stuff. And I hope that helps you guys out. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, guys. Take care.